beginning the Archive of Impossible Languages. The Galactic Archive hovered in orbit around the dead star Kasur 9 like a cathedral built by gods who no longer believed in worship. Its spiraling arms of silver crystal and dark matter lattice stored the knowledge of 1,000 civilizations, many of which had already vanished. Inside Hall 13, a chamber reserved for undecipherable artifacts, a crowd of scholars gathered around a newly recovered relic. It was a thin, obsidian-black slab etched with glowing glyphs that pulsed faintly like a heartbeat. Dr. Zeldar of the Lyrian Conclave adjusted his translation tendrils, the soft bioluminescent filaments on his temples flickering with irritation. "This script violates every known semiotic structure," he said, his voice echoing through the hall's resonance translators. "It is neither logographic nor phonetic. It does not follow mathematical recursion or symbolic patterning. Our quantum AI models have failed to extract meaning after 3 cycles." A ripple of agreement moved through the assembled scholars. The artifact had been retrieved from the ruins of a human colony world destroyed centuries earlier during the Silent Expansion Wars. The humans themselves were still considered a young, unpredictable species. Dangerous, yes, but scientifically primitive compared to elder civilizations. Dr. Zeldar gestured at the glyphs. "We must assume this is ritualistic, perhaps artistic nonsense. It cannot be a true language." A voice came from the back of the hall, calm and unmistakably amused. "Have you tried flipping it?" The scholars turned. Standing there was Dr. Mara Ellison, a human xenolinguist assigned to the archive as part of a recent interspecies research exchange. She wore a simple slate-gray uniform and carried a tablet covered in handwritten annotations, an archaic habit that most alien scientists found quaint and inefficient. Zeldar's tendrils flared. "Flipping it? This is a spatially stabilized artifact. Orientation should not matter." Mara walked forward, her footsteps echoing softly on the crystalline floor. She looked at the slab, tilted her head, and smiled. "You're holding it upside down." The room went silent. The rotation that changed everything. At first, Zeldar assumed the human was joking. Humor, after all, was a poorly understood human trait that often interfered with logical discourse. But something in Mara's expression made him pause. "Explain," he demanded. "Human writing systems evolved on a planet with gravity," she said. "Orientation matters. Some scripts change meaning when rotated. You're analyzing it in the wrong frame of reference." The artifact was suspended in a null-gravity containment field with no defined up or down. The scholars had oriented it according to galactic standard alignment, north relative to the core of the Milky Way. Mara reached into the containment controls. "May I?" Zeldar hesitated, then nodded. The slab rotated slowly, turning end over end until it was inverted. The glyphs changed. Not physically, yet suddenly the patterns aligned into recognizable structures. Lines connected into shapes. Symbols repeated in consistent sequences. Mara's tablet began auto-recognizing patterns. "There we go," she murmured. Zeldar's translation tendrils pulsed bright violet. "Impossible." The AI models did not. "They weren't trained to assume arbitrary orientation," Mara said. "They assumed the artifact was already correct." She pointed at the glyphs. "This is Old Terran standard with artistic distortions. A hybrid of English and symbolic shorthand." The hall erupted in astonishment. Within minutes, the archive's AI systems recalibrated, reanalyzing the script from the new orientation. Translation cascaded across the holographic displays. First contact log. Human colony Echo 7. If you are reading this, turn the plate over. If you already did, congratulations. You're smarter than most of the galaxy. The room went deathly quiet. The inscription continued, lines unfolding like a message written across centuries. We left this record for whoever finds it. Humans assume gravity. You probably don't. That's the joke. Zeldar stared at the translation. This is intentional? Yep, Mara said softly. Classic human humor. And a test. A test of what? Perspective. The next lines scrolled into view. We suspect future archaeologists will misinterpret our artifacts because you think in absolutes. Up, down, left, right. Those are human biases. If you can't rotate your assumptions, you'll never understand us. The scholars exchanged uneasy glances. Continue, Zeldar whispered. The message from the dead colony. The inscription unfolded into a long narrative, clearly designed for any future intelligence that might discover the ruins. Humanity was here. We lived, loved, argued, built cities, made terrible decisions, and wrote messages like this one. If you're reading this, we're probably gone. That's fine. Species come and go. Stories remain. Mara read aloud, her voice echoing in the hall. They turned their own extinction into a lesson, she said quietly. The message described daily life on Echo 7, the first human colony beyond the Orion Arm. It spoke of children playing under alien skies, engineers terraforming soil, artists carving sculptures from native crystal formations. Then it changed tone. We were not conquered. We left. The galaxy is big, and humans are restless. We move on when we get bored or scared. If you think this planet was a tragedy, you misunderstand us. We abandon things all the time. Sometimes that's growth. Sometimes it's cowardice. Usually both. Zeldar found himself disturbed. Most species viewed abandoned worlds as disasters. Humans framed it as a narrative choice. The inscription ended with a final block of text. To the scholar who figured out the rotation, congratulations. You understand the first rule of human thought. Perspective matters. If you want to understand us, keep rotating your assumptions. The slab went dark. The debate that followed. 4 days, the Galactic Archive buzzed with debate. The artifact shattered several long-held assumptions about humanity. They were not merely chaotic primates with dangerous technology. They were philosophers, pranksters, and storytellers who intentionally encoded cultural traps into their relics. Dr. Zeldar requested a private meeting with Mara. They sat in a spherical observation chamber overlooking the starless void, artificial light reflecting off the archive's crystalline walls. You deliberately create artifacts that mislead future researchers? Zeldar. Sometimes, Mara replied. We also create artifacts that teach. Depends on who's making them. This seems inefficient. Mara laughed softly. So is art. So is love. So is most of what makes life worth studying. Zeldar's tendrils pulsed in thoughtful patterns. Your species encodes meta-commentary into historical records. Why? Because humans think in stories, she said. We assume someone will read what we leave behind. And we like talking to that someone, even if they don't exist yet. Even across extinction. Especially across extinction. Zeldar considered this. The Lyrian conclave preserved knowledge with sterile precision, stripping away emotion. Humans embedded emotion into everything, even scientific archives. He realized something unsettling. This made human artifacts unpredictable and therefore dangerous. The revelation in the code. Weeks later, Mara requested permission to reanalyze the slab,